God is an enigmatic cosmic entity in One Punch Man that grants immense powers to selected individuals to further its unknown agenda, which appears centered on humanity's destruction. It empowered beings like Homeless Emperor, Psychos, and Garou, turning them into devastating threats. The clearest demonstration of Saitama's power to God occurred during the battle with Cosmic Fear Mode Garou, which was an avatar infused with God's abilities. Despite Garou's space-time manipulation and planet-destroying attacks, Saitama effortlessly countered him, ultimately defeating him with raw strength and even reversing time to undo catastrophic events. This confrontation directly thwarted God's plans, showcasing Saitama's overwhelming power. Additionally, God attempted to tempt Saitama via a mysterious cube, offering power or threatening forfeiture. Saitama's casual rejection highlighted his indifference to God's influence. Blast also noted that something on Earth was attracting God's attention, later implied to be Saitama himself. Furthermore, God sent agents like Sage Centipede and Evil Natural Water specifically to eliminate Saitama, confirming his status as an anomaly and a direct threat to God's overarching plans. Genus. Genus, as class rank 14 and Saitama's self-proclaimed disciple, was among the first to witness Saitama's power. After being saved from Mosquito Girl, Genus was so impressed that he became Saitama's apprentice. Their sparring session further cemented his beliefs in Saitama's overwhelming strength. Though Genus initially underestimated how vast the gap truly was, thinking Saitama might need help against foes like Oketsu. During the Monster Association arc, Genus' understanding of Saitama's power deepened significantly. After receiving memories from his core in the ominous future timeline, where Saitama fought and defeated Cosmic Fear Mode Garou on the moon Io and reverse time, Genus fully realized the godlike extent of his master's strength. He is among the very few who are fully aware of Saitama's limitless potential, and openly acknowledges it, even when others remain oblivious. Bang. Bang, also known as Silver Fang, is an S-class hero and a martial arts master who recognized Saitama's strength during the giant meteor incident, witnessing him destroy the massive rock with a single punch firsthand. However, his definitive realization came during the battle against Elder Centipede, which was a near-invincible dragon-level threat. Bang, along with his brother Bomb and Genus, struggled to damage Elder Centipede despite their combined strength. As the situation became desperate, Saitama arrived and destroyed the monster with a single serious punch, leaving Bang and the others in awe. This display confirmed to Bang that Saitama was operating on a level far beyond any hero he had encountered. Following this, Bang acknowledged Saitama's strength to Atomic Samurai, stating that a hero far stronger than himself was emerging. While Bang had earlier tried to recruit Saitama to his dojo, it was this battle that fully revealed Caped Baldy's true might. Their camaraderie deepened, but Bang's respect for Saitama's power was firmly established during the Elder Centipede fight. Boros. Lord Boros, the leader of the Dark Matter Thieves, is one of the few characters who could immediately sense Saitama's vast energy upon meeting him. Seeking a worthy opponent after years of unmatched conquest, Boros believed Saitama might finally present a challenge. Their battle was one of the most intense in the series. Boros unleashed his meteoric burst form and his ultimate attack, Collapsing Star Roaring Cannon, which is capable of leveling entire planets. However, Saitama effortlessly neutralized it with a serious punch. Throughout the fight, Boros realized that Saitama was holding back, and that his full strength remained unfathomable. Boros' final moments were marked by his acknowledgement of Saitama's overwhelming power, admitting that the battle had been hopelessly one-sided from the very beginning. His recognition of Saitama's strength is significant, as Boros is one of the very few who could survive multiple hits from him, giving him direct understanding of how insurmountable Saitama's true power really is. Blast. Blast, the top-ranked S-class hero, first encountered Saitama underground, but initially did not perceive him as special. However, his perspective changed drastically during the confrontation with Cosmic Fear Mode Garou. Witnessing the raw destructive power of Saitama in Garou's clashing fists, Blast had to intervene, teleporting them into space to prevent Earth's annihilation. Though the timeline where Saitama traveled back and defeated Garou erased some memories, Blast still saw Saitama strip God's power from Garou with a single punch. He was astounded by Saitama's ability to nullify God's influence, later expressing curiosity about Saitama's fists and their unique capacity to counter God's power. Blast's respect for Saitama was further shown when he requested his help for the eventual confrontation with God, recognizing that Saitama's strength would be essential in that battle. Though a man of few words, Blast's actions confirmed his acknowledgement of Saitama's unparalleled power. Armored Gorilla. Armored Gorilla is a cyborg enforcer from the House of Evolution, created by Dr. Genus. Initially tasked with capturing Saitama, he becomes aware of the hero's strength after witnessing the aftermath of Saitama's battles. Although Armored Gorilla doesn't directly fight Saitama, he learns about his overwhelming power following the defeat of fellow creations like Beast King and Carnage Kabuto. During his encounter with Genus, Armored Gorilla is defeated and forced to reveal the House of Evolution's location. Later at the house's base, after ending Beast King with consecutive normal punches and defeating Carnage Kabuto Kabuto with a single casual strike, Armored Gorilla's continued association with Dr. Genus, especially after their reformation and transition to running a takoyaki stand, suggests he became fully aware of Saitama's unparalleled strength, since Dr. Genus probably thinks and talks about him all the time. Dr. Genus. Dr. Genus, founder of the House of Evolution, sought to engineer the perfect being through artificial evolution. His perspective was shattered completely after witnessing Saitama's effortless defeat of Carnage Kabuto, his ultimate creation. In the House of Evolution arc, Carnage Kabuto easily overpowers Genus, but recoils in fear upon sensing Saitama's aura. Despite transforming into his strongest form, Kabuto was instantly annihilated by a casual punch from Saitama, who himself was more concerned with missing the deal of the day at the market than actually fighting the monster. Dr. Genus, observing this from afar, is astounded. He realizes that Saitama's strength transcends scientific understanding, prompting him to theorize that Saitama had removed his limiter, a concept previously believed impossible. This revelation forces Dr. Genus to abandon his pursuit of forced evolution, concluding that true power stems from willpower and self-discipline. Later, in a conversation with Zombie Man, Genus openly attributes Saitama's strength to his broken limiter, confirming his belief that Saitama had achieved godlike strength. This moment marks a turning point in Dr. Genus' character, as he shifts from an ambitious scientist to a humble observer of Saitama's inexplicable power. Garou. Garou, known as the Hero Hunter, initially remains unaware of Saitama's true power, despite several encounters with the bald hero. His memories of these meetings are hazy, yet an unconscious recognition lingers. It's not until Garou's transformation into a monster, empowered by God, that he fully remembers Saitama and realizes the magnitude of his oversight. Their climactic battle during the Monster Association arc reveals Saitama's unmatched strength. Garou, believing himself to be the peak of power after defeating multiple S-class heroes, and also some incredibly powerful dragon-level monsters, is effortlessly outmaneuvered by Saitama. Despite unleashing advanced martial arts techniques and monstrous abilities, Garou's attacks are casually dodged or nullified. Saitama's consecutive normal punches overwhelm him, and a single serious punch shatters Garou's monstrous form, reverting him to his human self. This defeat is not merely physical, it breaks Garou's ideology. Saitama's overwhelming power and candid words challenge Garou's belief in absolute evil, leading to his eventual redemption. For Garou, Saitama embodies the ultimate unfairness, a being whose strength transcends logic, forcing Garou to reassess his understanding of heroism and strength. King. King, publicly hailed as the strongest man on Earth, is in reality a normal human who has unknowingly taken credit for Saitama's achievements. His realization of Saitama's true power crystallizes during the King arc, when Saitama visits his apartment. When the giant crow attacks King's building, King is paralyzed with fear, fully aware of his helplessness. Saitama, present in that moment, steps in and casually eliminates the monster with a single punch. This incident forces King to confront the truth that Saitama has been his silent savior all along, defeating enemies like Octopus Clawman and Vaccine Man, for which King has received undeserved fame. King confesses his fraudulent activity to Saitama, who as always reacts with indifference, more focused on finishing their video game. This moment cements King's respect and admiration for Saitama's strength and humility. While King continues to act as a decoy hero, he places absolute trust in Saitama's power, fully aware that Saitama is the true strongest man on Earth. Dr. Kuseno. Dr. Kuseno, the scientist who rebuilt Genus into a cyborg, is aware of Saitama's overwhelming strength through Genus' detailed reports and personal admiration. Although Dr. Kuseno has never witnessed Saitama in combat, Genus frequently updates him about Saitama's feats, including victories over threats like Mosquito Girl, Deep Sea King, and Elder Centipede. In the Monster Association arc, Dr. Kuseno visits Saitama's apartment, expressing gratitude for mentoring Genus and presenting a hot pot gift. These interactions, coupled with Genus' constant praise, solidify Dr. Kuseno's understanding of Saitama's unparalleled capabilities. He recognizes that Saitama's influence on Genus extends beyond strength, shaping his character and philosophy as a hero. Though indirect, Dr. Kuseno's acknowledgement of Saitama's power is grounded in trust towards Genus' observations and the recorded evidence provided. This quiet recognition influences Dr. Kuseno's unwavering support for Genus' training under Saitama, despite never witnessing Saitama's feats firsthand. Empty Void. Empty Void, also known as That Man, is a cosmic-level adversary with mastery over space and dimensions. As a former partner of Blast, Void eventually succumbs to the influence of God, becoming a powerful minion capable of executing dimensional slashes that can tear through reality itself. His encounter with Saitama in the manga is a defining moment in his perception of power. During their clash in the initial version of the manga, Void unleashes a colossal dimensional slash, slicing through landscapes and parallel realities, yet Saitama casually catches this attack barehanded, negating its effects as if it were a trivial matter. The sheer ease with which Saitama nullifies Void's most absolute technique forces an immediate visceral realization in Void that he is no ordinary hero. He explicitly declares Saitama limitless, likening him to a bottomless pit whose depths cannot be fathomed, a recognition coming from a being who understands cosmic mechanics and God's corrupting influence. The impact of this moment is profound. Void's forced awakening to Saitama's power is not just a recognition of physical strength, but an existential acknowledgement. He realizes that Saitama exists outside of the known power hierarchies and dimensional laws, rendering the manipulations of God insignificant in the true face of absolute strength. This encounter not only liberates Void from God's influence, but also leaves him with the lasting impression of Saitama as a being who shatters the very foundation of cosmic balance, doing so with only a single punch. Fubuki. Fubuki, the leader of the Blizzard group and B-class rank 1 hero, initially approaches Saitama to recruit him, perceiving him as a threat to her rank. Confident in her psychic abilities and hierarchical tactics, she attempts to crush Saitama's spirit by overwhelming him with her group's numbers and later her own telekinesis. Both efforts fail spectacularly. Saitama casually defeats her subordinates and remains utterly unaffected by Fubuki's strongest attacks, including her Hellstorm. Despite witnessing this firsthand, Fubuki's rigid belief in her hero hierarchy prevents her from fully accepting Saitama's limitless strength. Instead, she rationalizes it by labeling him as an S-class minimum, a mental coping mechanism that allows her to maintain her worldview without acknowledging the terrifying implications of his true power. Her most significant moment of realization occurs when she observes Saitama's serious side hops, using them against Sonic, a display of speed so overwhelming that it creates infinite afterimages and shockwaves. This leaves Fubuki dumbfounded, forcing her to reassess her earlier assumptions. However, her understanding of Saitama remains incomplete. She clings to the belief that heroes like Tatsumaki or Amai Mask could in fact challenge him, not realizing she's witnessing a power that exists beyond rankings. Her emotional attachment to Saitama becomes evident when his casual dismissal of her as an acquaintance crushes her emotionally. Fubuki's journey with Saitama reflects a gradual erosion of her belief in power structures, though she is yet to fully comprehend his limitless nature. Flashy Flash. Flashy Flash, an S-class hero known for his unmatched speed and deadly swordsmanship, first encounters Saitama during the Monster Association arc. Mistaking him for a monster, Flashy Flash engages in combat, only to be stunned when Saitama effortlessly parries his high-speed attacks. Attempting to escape by accelerating to his maximum velocity, Flash is further shocked when Saitama keeps pace with him effortlessly. Initially dismissive of Saitama, Flash's perception shifts during their joint exploration of their Monster Association's labyrinth. Saitama's casual dismantling of powerful monsters combined with his nonchalant attitude forces Flash to quietly reevaluate his earlier assumptions. The defining moment comes when Flash witnesses Saitama effortlessly defeating Empty Void, a being of cosmic level power and a former comrade of Blast. For a speedster who prides himself on technique and training, seeing Saitama catch Void's dimensional slash barehanded is a true eye-opener. Flash, though outwardly composed, internally acknowledges Saitama as a being who operates on an entirely different plane. While he masks his astonishment under a facade of cold professionalism, Flash's respect for Saitama becomes apparent through his subtle behavioral shifts. He recognizes Saitama's strength, but much like Fubuki, struggles to fully process it, often suggesting Saitama has high potential, rather than admitting he's already beyond anyone Flash has encountered. His interactions highlight the difficulty in mentally reconciling Saitama's effortless dominance with a world built on effort, rank, and measurable skill. Overgrown Rover, a dragon-level monster, serves as a formidable guardian within the Monster Association. His destructive energy blasts are powerful enough to challenge martial arts legends like Bang and Bomb, marking him as one of the Association's strongest enforcers. However, his encounter with Saitama irreversibly alters Rover's perception of strength, although it doesn't have full human understanding. When Saitama stumbles upon the Monster Association headquarters, Rover instinctively attacks, only to be met with a casual yet devastating disciplinary punch from Saitama. The impact of this punch is cataclysmic, shaking the entire underground structure, causing earthquakes on the surface, and vaporizing large sections of the base. Despite surviving, Rover is left terrified. What makes this encounter unique is Rover's psychological submission. When Orochi commands Rover to attack Saitama again, Rover, now fully aware of the hero's overwhelming strength, flees in terror. This reaction signifies more than just fear. It represents an instinctual recognition of Saitama's place as an absolute apex predator. Post-arc, Rover's transformation into a loyal house-sized dog living with Saitama symbolizes the complete dominance Saitama exerts over beings not just physically but psychologically. Rover's arc illustrates how Saitama's strength breaks not only bones and structures, but also the wills and even the most monstrous entities, reducing catastrophic threats to docile pets with a single punch. Speed of Sound Sonic. Speed of Sound Sonic, a self-proclaimed rival to Saitama, prides himself on speed and assassin's finesse. After being defeated by Saitama in their first encounter, Sonic becomes obsessed with surpassing him. Despite 11 humiliating defeats, Sonic remains determined, continuously training to close the insurmountable gap. Saitama's indifference to Sonic's challenges is a reoccurring comedic theme. Sonic's deadliest techniques, including his 10 Shadows Burial, are effortlessly countered by Saitama's serious side hops, a casual move that generates infinite afterimages and obliterates Sonic without a single direct strike. Despite this, Sonic stubbornly clings to the idea of rivalry, going so far as to consider monstrification, only to fail in a comically tragic fashion. His inability to accept the futility of his quest underscores the series' parody of traditional shonen rivalries. Saitama's limitless power renders all of Sonic's efforts mute, turning their rivalry into a cosmic joke. Yet Sonic's grudging respect for Saitama is evident. He categorizes Saitama as an S-class minimum, a massive underestimation, but his only way of rationalizing the disparity without admitting defeat. Suiryu. Suiryu, the undefeated champion of the Super Fight tournament, epitomized arrogance born from unchallenged dominance. He believed martial arts mastery was the ultimate path to power, dismissing heroes as mere public servants, unworthy of his attention. This self-assurance was irrevocably shattered when he encountered Saitama. Initially intrigued by Saitama's casual defeat of Zako's with a mere slap, Suiryu regarded him as a worthy opponent. However, during their official match, Saitama's disinterested evasion of Suiryu's most refined techniques, followed by a casual one-hit defeat, left Suiryu dumbfounded. Yet this was only a prelude to his true awakening. The arrival of Goketsu, a dragon-level martial arts monster, completely dismantled Suiryu's inflated self-image. Despite all his skills and physical prowess, Suiryu was mercilessly beaten, driven to the brink of death, and reduced to a desperate plea for a hero's intervention. It was in that moment of complete vulnerability that Saitama reappeared, not as a showy savior, but with a casual presence that contrasted Suiryu's desperation. Saitama's effortless one-punch defeat of Goketsu, a being who had just humiliated Suiryu, was not just a rescue, it was a cosmic revelation. Suiryu immediately recognized the absurd disparity. His life's pursuit of martial discipline suddenly felt meaningless compared to Saitama's absolute unearned power. This moment annihilated his ego and fostered an immediate reverence, leading to his desperate request to become Saitama's disciple, a request Saitama rejected with typical indifference. Suiryu's transformation was instant. The experience was a brutal yet enlightening realization that in a universe where beings like Saitama exist, concepts like natural-born talent are laughably insignificant. For Suiryu, this encounter wasn't just a defeat, it was a paradigm shift. Amai Mask. Amai Mask embodies the Hero Association's ideal image of heroism, flawless, beautiful, and overwhelmingly powerful. His rigid perfectionism fuels his disdain for anything ugly or imperfect, be it monsters, low-ranked heroes, or individuals who do not fit his aesthetic of what a hero should be. Saitama, with his bland appearance and zero concern for public image, stands as the antithesis to everything Amai Mask values. Initially, Amai Mask viewed Saitama as a powerful but crude anomaly, lacking the beauty of overwhelming power. However, subtle observations, such as Saitama's effortless victory over Deep Sea King, began to slowly unsettle the hero. He noted that Saitama, despite his lack of refinement, possessed an undeniable efficiency, a raw absolute power that produced results far beyond the efforts of more polished heroes. Unlike Suiryu, Amai Mask's recognition of Saitama's strength was not immediate. It was a slow, uncomfortable accumulation of undeniable facts. He witnessed Genus, a hero he respected, idealizing Saitama, and heard accounts of Saitama's impossible feats during the Monster Association arc. Yet his perfectionist mindset could not reconcile Saitama's unheroic demeanor with his overwhelming power. To Amai Mask, Saitama is a threat not in terms of malice, but in how his very existence undermines the Hero Association's carefully curated image of heroism. Saitama's brute simplicity challenges Amai Mask's belief that power must align with beauty, charisma, and heroic aesthetics. However, he eventually folds, and takes on the task of trying to recruit Saitama to mold him into the perfect hero, an effort that, as you could imagine, would fail. Orochi. Orochi, the self-proclaimed Monster King, believed himself to be the pinnacle of monstrous evolution. Having absorbed countless monsters and fused their abilities into his own body, Orochi saw himself as the ultimate life form, defined to reshape the world under his reign. His perception of power was one of endless consumption and adaptive evolution, a belief that his strength was absolute because it had never been truly challenged. This illusion crumbled upon his encounter with Saitama. Orochi had already felt indirect evidence of Saitama's existence. The deaths of Koketsu and Elder Centipede, two of his most powerful cadres, cadre, and the rumors of the ghost town horror in Z City. Orochi's interest was piqued, seeing Saitama as a potential sacrifice in order to transcend Orochi to godhood. However, Orochi's confidence remained unshaken until their actual confrontation. Expecting a monumental battle, Orochi unleashed his most devastating techniques, including the Gaia Cannon, an attack that harnessed energy from the Earth's core itself. Saitama's response was lethargic at best, repelling it with a serious squirt gun, and retaliated with a single, casual punch that obliterated Orochi entirely. Orochi's defeat was not a battle, but an erasure. His final moments were marked by disbelief and existential terror. The realization that his pursuit of ultimate power, his entire identity, was rendered meaningless by a being who exerted no visible effort was a shattering truth. Orochi's annihilation is a narrative demonstration of Saitama's role in the One Punch Man universe, the definitive full stop to any ultimate being's ambitions. Tatsumaki. Tatsumaki, the Tornado of Terror, is revered as the strongest Esper and the second highest ranked S-Class hero. Her psychic abilities allow her to manipulate landscapes, obliterate enemies with ease, and shield cities from cataclysmic threats. Her confidence in her power is absolute until she meets Saitama. Their confrontation begins with Tatsumaki attempting to punish the Blizzard group, only to be obstructed by Saitama. Her immediate response is to crush him with her psychic might. However, to her shock, Saitama remains completely unaffected, casually enduring being flung through buildings and having entire landscapes twisted around him. Tatsumaki's attacks escalate in desperation. She amplifies her power to cataclysmic levels, yet no matter how much force she exerts, Saitama does not budge. The psychological impact is slow and brutal. With every failed attack, Tatsumaki's frustration gives way to disbelief, then to existential dread. Saitama's calm, almost bored demeanor during her onslaught is a direct assault on her identity. He does not struggle, he does not retaliate, he simply exists beyond her reach. Her inability to lift him telekinetically, a feat she considered impossible, shatters her internal hierarchy of power. For Tatsumaki, whose entire self-worth is built upon being the strongest, Saitama's existence is a traumatic revelation. He's a being that invalidates her supremacy not by fighting harder, but by not needing to fight at all. Tatsumaki's arc post-encounter is marked by a quiet, grudging acknowledgement. She never fully concedes to Saitama's superiority, but the seeds of doubt are irreversibly planted. For the first time, she feels irrelevant. Her power, which once defined her, is rendered conceptually insignificant against a man who is immune to her very existence. Black Sperm. As a dragon-level monster composed of billions of autonomous cells, capable of infinite multiplication and combination, Black Sperm viewed himself as the ultimate life form. His belief was rooted in adaptability. No opponent could ever outlast his overwhelming numbers or surpass his evolved forms, like Gold Sperm and Platinum Sperm. He never directly fought Saitama, but after witnessing his submission of Overgrown Rover and witnessing defeat Cosmic Fear Garou, this gives Black S an understanding of the true gap between their power. His transformation into Saitama's pet wasn't a comedic punchline, it was the only logical outcome. His existence had no agency left, and he was left powerless, deciding to live under the protection of what he deemed to be the strongest person he'd ever seen, doing so as he replenishes his strength. Zombie Man. Zombie Man's understanding of Saitama's power was a slow intellectual process rather than a visceral confrontation. As rank 8 in the S-Class, Zombie Man prided himself in his unmatched regeneration, tactical combat skills, and investigative acumen. He was not a powerhouse by any means, but a survivor. Although compared to many other characters that have ever come across Saitama, he's never been delusional about his own strength. The real shift in perception came during his conversation with Dr. Genus. Genus explained the limiter theory that all beings have growth caps imposed by nature, except for Saitama, who had forcibly broke his own limiter. Zombie Man's true comprehension, however, crystallized after witnessing Saitama's effortless dominance of Cosmic Fear Garou, or at least not directly witnessing it but hearing it from Genus. Seeing how Garou, a being whose power dwarfed the collective S-Class, was casually done away with by Saitama, forced Zombie Man to abandon any notion that strength could be earned through conventional means. It took true effort and a complete elimination of limits. This caused him to seek out Genus once again, not for admiration, but to pursue limiter removal himself. For Zombie Man, who relied on enduring pain, Saitama's invulnerability wasn't just inviolable, it was a transcendence of suffering. Carnage Kabuto. Carnage Kabuto was one of the rare few who instinctively felt Saitama's true power before landing a single punch. As the House of Evolution's ultimate creation, Kabuto had every reason to be arrogant. He obliterated Genus with ease, but the moment he faced Saitama, his primal instincts screamed danger. That initial flash of fear made him hesitant, a survival reaction that bypassed his arrogance. It wasn't based on analysis or combat intuition. It was raw biological terror in the face of something that his brain couldn't comprehend. But But ego doesn't yield so easily. In a fit of denial, Kabuto entered Carnage mode, convinced his boosted power could erase the inexplicable fear. What followed was immediate and absolute, and a little comedic. Saitama's single punch did not just defeat him, it completely erased him from the narrative, as Saitama was way more concerned about missing the deal of the day at the market than the rampaging monster in front of him. Bakuzan. Bakuzan's downfall is perhaps the purest depiction of Saitama's apathy towards conventional escalation. As a two-time super fight champion, Bakuzan was a symbol of raw, brutal martial strength. His transformation into a dragon-level monster only fueled his belief that he was now untouchable. That belief was completely shattered by Saitama on two different occasions. Bakuzan was defeated not by hard-fought battle, but because Saitama casually punched him to adjust his disguise. Then, after becoming a monster, he was completely obliterated in half by a single punch. Bakuzan's transition from smug martial artist to insignificant casualty happened so swiftly that his mind couldn't process it. Busho. Busho represents the Hero Association's bureaucratic failure to quantify Saitama. Unlike the combatants who experienced Saitama's strength firsthand, Busho's understanding came from behind a desk, through data, reports, and footage. He knew Saitama had shattered every physical exam record. He saw reports of the Deep-Sea King defeat, asteroid destruction, and monster annihilations. Yet Saitama remained in the C-class. Busho, along with executives like Jinszerin, viewed Saitama as a statistical anomaly, someone who could not be categorized in the Hero Association's rigid hierarchy. While pushing for Saitama's promotion to B-class, Busho's wariness was rooted in institutional unease. Saitama was, quote, a dumb hero with unlimited power. Although still relatively hesitant about Saitama's power, Busho is one of the few characters in the series that doesn't let ego or past preconceptions give him a stubborn outlook on Saitama's strength. Jinszerin. Jinszerin was among the first within the Hero Association's inner circle to recognize that Saitama was an anomaly. While most of the organization dismissed Saitama's C-class ranking as indicative of mediocrity, Jinszerin had access to a different kind of truth, the raw data. During the National Superhero Registry arc, Saitama's physical tests were beyond comprehension. He obliterated every record, speed, strength, endurance, with a level of ease that statistical models couldn't explain. In his conversation with Snek, Jinszerin compared Saitama to a vessel carrying the power of a god. This wasn't a poetic exaggeration, it was a professional's attempt to rationalize numbers that defied logic. Unlike others who needed visual proof of Saitama's strength, Jinzerin's recognition was data-driven. His belief was not rooted in combat bravado, but in empirical evidence that no existing hero, not even S-class, could ever possibly match. Geryuganshoop. Geryuganshoop's recognition of Saitama's power came from a place of universal arrogance. As the Dark Matter Thief's top telekinetic, he believed himself untouchable. His abilities capable of manipulating sublight speed projectiles and altering gravity itself were considered unmatched across galaxies. Yet in a span of a few seconds, his worldview completely collapsed. Geryuganshoop unleashed a barrage of high-velocity rubble, a technique lethal to most beings. Saitama's response was as casual as it was devastating. He dismissed the attack as a waste of superpowers, and with a single flick of a stone, ended Geryuganshoop's life. The lieutenant's head split open, not through a climactic struggle, but via an offhanded gesture. Glasses. Glasses' journey to understanding Saitama's power was not born out of terror, but inspiration. As a member of Fubuki's Blizzard group, he was surrounded by mid-tier heroes who relied on numbers rather than true strength. Glasses himself struggled with self-doubt, believing his lack of innate talent made him forever a side character. This changed when Saitama effortlessly destroyed the demon-level monster Demonic Fan, a foe that the entirety of the Blizzard group, including Fubuki, had failed to permanently dispatch. For Glasses, this wasn't just a display of strength, it was a complete paradigm shift in the way he viewed the world. Saitama, an unremarkable man with an unfashionable tracksuit, had achieved godlike power through mundane, relentless effort. This encounter led Glasses to reevaluate his own path. He left the Blizzard group, no longer seeking validation through association. Instead, he adopted Saitama's mindset of self-driven growth. Saitama's power, in Glasses' eyes, wasn't unattainable divinity. It was merely a blueprint. The difference was not genetics or luck, but simple effort. Glasses' recognition of Saitama's strength became the catalyst for his own rebirth as a true hero. Hammerhead. Hammerhead's recognition of Saitama's strength was abrupt and humiliating, and also a bit comical. As the leader of the Paradisers, equipped with stolen battlesuits that could level entire buildings, Hammerhead believed brute force was the ultimate equalizer. His ideology centered on using technological enhancements to dominate society. That illusion crumbled the moment he met Saitama. Despite using the full power of his battlesuit, Hammerhead's attacks failed to even move Saitama. In contrast, a single casual strike from Saitama shattered the battlesuit entirely, stripping Hammerhead of his only source of strength. strength, both literally and symbolically. What makes Hammerhead's realization distinct is that it wasn't born out of an extended battle or grand philosophy. It was just instant and visceral. His strongest attack did nothing, Saitama's weakest move completely obliterated him, so he just decided, alright, yeah, I'm not gonna mess with that. Monako. Monako's recognition of Saitama's power was a slow, cumulative process. As a minor monster, she lacked the combat prowess to assess strength through battle. Her understanding came from proximity, from witnessing up close how Saitama casually navigated the deadly labyrinth of the Monster Association. Initially taken as a reluctant guide by Saitama and Flashy Flash, Monako schemed to eliminate him, unaware of the futility. The turning point came when Saitama, without hesitation, saved her from a fatal fall and destroyed a monster that was threatening her life. What struck Monako wasn't the act itself, but the sheer ease with which Saitama dismantled threats that terrorized the Monster Association. Monako's growing fear and respect weren't fueled by a singular climactic moment, but by a series of casual demonstrations of overwhelming power, and also indifferent kindness. By the arc's end, she made a pragmatic choice: stay close to Saitama. In a collapsing world of monsters and heroes, Saitama was the safest place to be, not because he promised protection, but because nothing could touch him, and they even go to eat udon together sometimes. Nyan. Nyan, a dragon-level cadre famed for his unparalleled agility and lethal flexibility, believed himself to be untouchable. His combat philosophy revolved around evasion, contortion, and ambush tactics, which had allowed him to dominate countless heroes with ease. But that entire strategy collapsed the moment he crossed paths with Saitama. During the chaos of the Monster Association assault, Nyan felt a seismic shockwave that piqued his interest. It was Saitama casually striking down Overgrown Rover, a feat that stunned Nyan, given Rover's sheer power. Sensing an opportunity for a quick kill, Nyan launches a surprise attack on Saitama. The result was immediate and devastating. Saitama was completely unaffected. The revelation that Saitama was on a completely different level to Nyan was instant. No calculation, no second attempt. His animal instincts took over and he immediately fled, understanding that Saitama was a being beyond comprehension. Phoenix Man. Phoenix Man's belief in his invincibility stemmed from his unique evolutionary ability. Every defeat quite literally made him stronger. His rebirth cycle was supposed to be infinite, but when Saitama entered his Phoenix space, casually punching through reality itself, Phoenix Man faced a type of power that defied not just strength, but also conceptual logic. At first, Phoenix Man rationalized that Saitama's intrusion was a costume gimmick, but the oppressive aura Saitama radiated made that theory collapse. Realizing that Saitama was not bound by conventional rules, or even unconventional rules, Phoenix Man aborted the encounter, ejecting everyone back to the real world, avoiding a confrontation. Phoenix Man never directly fought Saitama, but seeing him casually assist Child Emperor, coupling with the fact that he saw him shatter his Phoenix space, made him quickly realize that Saitama wasn't a hero to mess with. Snek. Snek's recognition of Saitama's power was personal and humiliating. As an A-class hero with a rigid belief in the Hero Association's hierarchy, Snek viewed himself as an enforcer of order. When Saitama, a mere C-class newcomer, shattered all physical test records, Snek's pride was slightly wounded. Determined to, quote, educate Saitama, Snek attacked him with his biting snake fist, but Saitama, lost in thought, casually sidestepped and neutralized Snek's best moves, without effort or any attention. The gap was immediate, undeniable, and soul-crushing. Snek realized that in that instant, his place in the hero hierarchy meant nothing against a power like Saitama's, and made him reconceptualize what he thought a real hero was. The impact on Snek was a hard but necessary reality check, but something that seemed to improve his character for the better, because in later moments in the series, he appears to be much more humble than he originally was. Mumen Rider. Mumen Rider's recognition of Saitama's power wasn't born out of defeat, it was born out of gratitude. During the Deep Sea King crisis, after Genus and other heroes had been overwhelmed, Mumen Rider stood alone against the monster, fully aware of his impending defeat. His courage was absolute, but his strength was definitely not. At his most desperate moment, Saitama intervened. With a single punch, Saitama obliterated the Deep Sea King, completely ending the battle in a single moment. Mumen Rider saw firsthand what raw, unchallengeable strength really looked like, but more importantly, he saw a hero who respected his ideals. Saitama didn't belittle Mumen Rider's bravery, he acknowledged it. For Mumen Rider, this wasn't a demoralizing experience like it is for other heroes. It was an affirmation that heroism wasn't just about strength, it was also about will. Mumen Rider is easily one of the most likable and humble heroes in the series, so it did not take him long at all after seeing this one feat of Saitama, and also seeing his kindness, to put his support behind the bald hero and become his friend. And in a little side note, Mumen Rider is absolutely goated. That's facts. Forte. Forte, an A-class hero who styled his fighting around rhythm and tempo, initially underestimated Saitama. He approached him with the usual cocky veteran attitude, annoyed at Saitama's refusal to submit to his higher rank. However, his entire view shifted when he witnessed Saitama's encounter with Tatsumaki, and to some extent when they had their own, quote, battle. He first challenged Saitama to a fight before fully realizing his strength, and although Saitama comically was trying to tell Forte to move from a moving car, he was completely nailed by it and knocked out. Although Forte falsely assumed that this was a punch from Saitama, he regardless came to the necessary conclusion of Saitama's strength after witnessing his city-wide battle with Tatsumaki. The man who brushed off Forte's rhythm nonsense was casually trading blows with the S-Class Rank 2 hero. He chose not to antagonize Saitama anymore. Instead, he tried to stay on good terms with him, honoring his deal of taking care of Saitama's pets if he won the fight. And also, like with many other heroes that Saitama encounters, his perception about what a hero should be was completely shattered and reformed. Dr. Bofoi. Dr. Bofoi, also known as Metal Knight, recognized Saitama's power not through direct confrontation, but through surveillance and cold analytics. A man who trusts data over rumors, Bofoi was completely shocked when an unknown A-class hero destroyed his high-end drone series and dismantled threats that could have required an army of S-class heroes. Unlike emotional or reactive characters, Bofoi's understanding was clinical. Saitama's performance metrics did not make sense. The destruction Saitama was capable of was unquantifiable by normal metrics. After cross-referencing Saitama's feats, from obliterating the meteor to his role in the Monster Association raid, Bofoi concluded that Saitama was an uncontrolled variable in his global defense equation. While he harbored resentment towards Saitama for the collateral damage during his clash with Tatsumaki, and also the destruction of his robot series, he still chooses to observe Saitama patiently. Among several other powerful characters in the series, Bofoi simply observes him from afar as a potential threat to his plans, whatever they may be.